Yo, welcome to the Foster Fathers Podcast. My name is Chris.
I'm Kyle, two everyday, average, ordinary foster dads trying to create a place where you feel like you can belong.
Yo, welcome to the podcast. We are talking today about things we learned on the other side. There are moments in this journey in which we don't know what we don't know.
You're flying blind.
Yeah, you're flying
Learning
blind.
Learning on the fly.
And
Wish I could have figured it out sooner,
Yeah.
but I didn't, so I'm here.
And that space is terrible. And so maybe someone listening on this other side of this podcast would be like, man, I've been thinking these exact same things, and we can encourage you with that. But before we dive into this, This week in foster care, Kyle, you're up.
Dude, I had this is not going to come as a surprise to anybody else, but it was a big moment for me, so much so that I found my phone. No, wait, never mind. I was already on my phone because I was watching YouTube.
Nice.
I was watching YouTube on my phone.
Our podcast, obviously.
But then I
like and subscribe.
Then I smash that like button. Smash, bam, bam, bam. But I put I exited out of the YouTube link.
You sound like my grandpa, but describing.
I am like a grandpa. Yeah. Yes. So I exited out of YouTube and I texted Chris and I said, "Dude, Superman was adopted." And that was my moment this week, is that I realized that these Marvel comic characters.
That's actually DC.
Oh, geez. This shows you how much of a grandpa I really am. That's okay. Anyways, these comic characters, Batman was an orphan.
Batman was an orphan.
Superman was adopted.
Well, Batman was rich, so.
But he was still an orphan. He was his parents died.
Our foster kids and now adopted kids aren't going to experience that part.
Well, they're rich because they got you, dude.
Nice.
Rich in love, dude. Love is all you need.
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, don't count yourself out, dude. Okay, yeah, you're right. You're right.
No, I'm just kidding. It does not cover the. Well, that is a funny thing, that Batman does have money.
He has
and he's
money.
Still trying to fill that void, you know.
Right.
Trying to be the hero of his own
story.
But
the big one was I was watching one of the modern renditions of Superman and just had this realization, you know, and they're crying, him and his dad, and he's like, "Can't I just be your son? I just want to pretend like I'm your son." And he says, "You are my son." Aww. And it was just that moment where I realized, holy smokes, dude. I mean, it's cool. It's really... It's neat to see that, but we brush over that part. We just look at, oh my God, look at this guy's a hero, you know. But I also it also made me think this, man, is like I've had a couple people on occasion say, "Man, you guys are such heroes, wow," and I think, man, is this what Superman feels like? Because this is not the best feeling. Most of the time, it just feels like despair.
You just compared yourself to Superman?
No, I hope not. I hope he had a better experience saving people than I did. Mine's, you know, it's not easy. You don't feel like a hero. You feel like you're inept.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, I feel like the other cool reality is it really is everywhere. Foster care and adoption, and it's just like if you look hard enough, you'll see it.
It continues to pop up. This morning, dropping my kids off at school, I had a late meeting, so I was able just to hang out with them, stand at the school playground, and I started talking with another teacher at the school, and I said, "Oh yeah, blah blah blah," and explaining, and it somehow came up, you know, explaining our situation. She says, "Oh no, I know," and I said, "Oh okay." She goes, "Yeah, I've been watching you guys, and I want you to know, I adopted my two youngest kids out of foster care." And instantly,
like,
and I said, "Wow!" I said, "We're family."
Yeah.
I said, "You and I are the same," you know. And it's just so cool to have that, because it's a unique bond that this lady, you know, who works at the school, out of the hundreds of kids that go to that school, out of the hundreds of parents who show up every day, and her and I have an instantaneous connection.
Yeah,
because we went through you know, similar things. So
well, it's cool. Like we have this weird, funny thing that funny opportunity to be on the news. The local, I don't know what station it is.
Yeah.
But it's because we have a friend of a friend that he's adopted his daughter. And he's like, I love what you guys are doing. I want to put some light and some attention on it. And so, again, the like content creator for the news in our local area is like, dude, let's get you on there. So shout out Ryan. Thank you. I'm going to email you back tomorrow.
We'll get there.
And we'll meet you at a park or something.
Yeah.
Okay. So things we wish we learned on the other. We knew on the other side.
Yeah.
Things we learned on the fly.
Yeah.
Things that maybe to encourage a listener right now that is in the middle of foster care adoptive journey and I wish I needed to know earlier.
And this was spurred on for me. We have a friend who is doing foster care for a little girl, and I've fortunately been able to just, hey, I'm going to call you up. What Chris did for me, called him up, every week, every couple times every week, and it's been like, you all right, dude? Yeah, you gonna make it, dude? Don't give up, bro. Come on, don't give up, dude. Please don't give up. Yeah. And the thing that I realized is, like, I'm sitting here like just hoping, praying, begging, please don't give up, because I do realize that in that moment it feels devastating. Like you're just sitting here like, oh man, like I don't know what to do. I don't have, and it was just that moment that made me realize, like, man, and we've talked about this before, but the only thing that prepares you for this
is doing it.
And it's funny, I was talking with a friend the other day, and I said, when we'll get a couple more kids at some point. And she goes, excuse me? And I said, well, I mean, I said, eventually we'll probably have, we'll hop back into foster care once we have a couple more bedrooms, and we'll invite a couple more kids into the house over time. And she goes, that's insane. But for me, it's the fact that I have learned what I've learned, experienced what I've experienced, and
nothing's going to catch you off guard as much as it did in the beginning.
What we're going to attempt to do is to explain the wisdom that you and I learned, but some of it's not even wisdom. It's just that felt sentiment that I am going to survive. And that's actually what I'll let you go first, but mine is kind of more of a felt sentiment than it actually is like a piece of knowledge that I learned.
Yeah.
So, but something that you learned along the way that you don't think you could have learned any other way besides just sheer experience.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've heard my story, hopefully, but if you haven't, we've adopted out of foster care. We have one in the middle of
two biological kids, one adopted, and one sibling of your adopted kid.
That we're in the limbo of right now, which is a funny thing. But the thing that I learned along the way is no one's hiding something from you. And now we're speaking in generalities. I'm sure there have been instances in which someone has felt like someone did not share everything.
Yes.
But for me, I was the dude, the dad, the husband, with my wife going through the motions, and I don't do that. I just like avoid emotion. I'm just kidding. Kind of.
You don't go through emotions. You go through the motions, not emotions, because you don't.
Yes.
Sorry, play on words.
That's exactly
go
what
ahead.
I do. That was good.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I was the one that's like, caseworker's coming over. Here's my 16 questions. Yeah. You surely know something that
I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Pull out the interrogation
line for us.
Where are the others?
Yeah, exactly. Like what is happening? Surely you know more than you're telling me. There's something behind the veil. You just don't feel like disclosing with me. And whether we have the benefit of a great social worker, which I think we do, our caseworker's been, she's not been perfect, but she's been overall great. And so, but I always thought, man, maybe there's something that she's just not letting me in on. There's someone who knows something that I don't know, and it's driving me crazy. And they're just not telling me something. And
and you think if
I poke and prod and bug,
ask the right question combination, eventually you're gonna unlock the secret chest.
Yeah, and so I think that's something. Especially, I have to imagine, and I don't have the direct first-hand experience of direct adoption, but I have a lot of friends that have done it, and they are also like, is the selection committee has that happened yet? Or are they just not calling me yet because they don't want to give me bad news? Or or if international adoption, has the government met? Has like the organizing embassy
what's the hold up here?
And everyone's thinking, well, they're just not telling me everything, and that's a terrible place to live mentally.
Yeah,
and I lived there a lot, and surely my wife is crying some moments, rejoicing some moments, going through it some moments, and I'm just like, but I'll find the nugget. I'll find the information we've been looking for. Yeah. And our social worker's like, listen, dude, everything's on the table. You just got to roll. You got to roll with it, which I generally do, but
we are all putting this puzzle together.
Yeah.
Together. Like this is one puzzle piece at a time, and nobody has the complete picture yet.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just me, but I feel like it's a lot of times. It's a generality, but it's a lot of the dudes.
Yeah.
They're trying to solve the problem. They're trying to be self-sufficient. They're trying to do all that.
You want to have control on the whole thing.
And if I could just encourage you, and it's not going to be that encouraging, but like there is just nothing. And sometimes the situation just needs the time factor to have everything unveil and everything, the shroud to be lifted. And I hope and know, in my experience and probably yours, that the caseworker is on your side, on your team, on the kids' team, but like you said, the puzzle is being solved from all sides by all people. Yeah. And so it's not...
Nobody's sitting here. There's not a puzzle. Yeah. There's not a picture. There's not the puzzle box top like we all do puzzles. Yeah. Sitting off in the corner. It is the fact, like... I mean, you're probably putting, it's like they're going to put the puzzle together piece by piece, and then we're going to paint it at the end.
We're going to paint it. By the way, on a puzzle tangent, my wife and I, we thought it would be super fun instead of a guest book that we had people sign a white puzzle, an all-white puzzle. We thought once they Sharpie their names on, it'd be easy to put together. Well, we didn't get every puzzle piece signed, and solving a white puzzle is the absolute worst thing you could ever do. So if you're also on the road to get married,
the foreboding of your wedding to now, like that, you didn't realize that was like that was talking about foster. That was just like a premonition of, hey, you guys are
going to
get into foster.
Turned off all the lights and tried to do a puzzle.
you guys are going to get to this point in your marriage, and you're going to do foster care, and you thought this puzzle was hard.
No.
Yeah, good luck. You're in foster care, dude.
So that's a good one, and please feel encouragement in that their answers just aren't there. And they're not there yet, and relax. And I needed to know that. I needed to hear that. And my first case had a lot of variables. Reunified. We had adoption. We had kinship stuff pop up. We had driving a kid across the state to reunite. All the variables that I was just like, I was so stressed for a while trying to solve it all. And it just happened. And there's the same journey is going to happen. It's just how you're going to go through it. You're going to go through it stressed and bugging, or you're going to go through it like trusting and open-handed and peacefully.
We had to come to a point, we got our older two, so the younger two lived with us for almost a year. When we got the older two moved in, and then it was needed to be a minimum of 6 months is how they do it in Idaho. 6 months of a placement with you before it can go to adoption. And so we got them essentially August, let's just say August 1 was when they officially recorded it. And so everyone said, okay, August, September, November, December.
There's October too.
August, September, October, November, December, January, right? So that's 6 months. So they thought, okay, so February we'll finalize this adoption. February rolls around. March rolls around.
Well, they know that everyone listened to the last episode.
Oh, that's right. Sorry. But anyway, so it just kept going on, and I'm affirming that feeling where I was like, all right, guys, what's going on around here? Somebody knows what's going on. And nobody could answer the question. And I'm like, come on, somebody just give me something. And in the end, it was just the fact that nobody knew. Nobody knew because, you had to jump through these things. And then this, they finally put this piece of paperwork in, and then it unlocked, we got to finalize this piece of paperwork over here. And it's just, so that's it. I mean, no one's malicious, not nobody, because again, like you said, there are some places, but oftentimes just take some breaths and realize it's a process that is being put together on the fly.
Okay, so that's my first one. I think I have two. What's your next one?
For me, I think it is just that realization that you are putting, again, to go back to this puzzle piece together, but within myself. I've been reading. I like to read, and I was reading this book.
Body Keeps the Score?
It actually wasn't even related to any of this stuff. It wasn't, although I did just open up The Whole Brain Child, which has been suggested to us by quite a few people, psychological experts, child psychology experts, and also some people around the department here in Idaho have mentioned that one as one of their preferred curriculums. Anyway, so I just picked that up, so you'll probably be hearing some more. I only got through the introduction. Anyways, but I was reading this other book, and it was talking about like how people learn, how people develop, more from like a high achiever standpoint. And they were saying that when anybody who's brand new at something, it seems insurmountable, right? Especially if I'm sitting here staring at an expert and I think, wow, how does that guy do all that?
Yeah.
But then as you learn, you start to develop categories and placements within your brain for this information. And the same thing is, and we've talked about how foster care is complicated, and you have zero context, zero categories, even for people who have had kids or have adopted. There are so many shifts on the fly within foster care that you can't quite prepare for it. And so I spent I think I didn't give myself enough patience because I'm on this insane learning swing and I can't even keep my brain together, and I put so much pressure on myself to perform and to be the perfect dad and all this stuff that I think it actually stressed me out more. Yeah. Right. Instead of just embracing the chaos, embracing the constant shifting and realizing that, hey, dude, in 1 month, you will have more context. You will have more understanding. You will have a better grasp of what you're doing than you do now. Yeah. And it was just everything was absolutely new all at once. So I mean, I'm speaking to my friend Josh, who's went from 0 kids to this pre-teenage girl who's going through a lot, and he does not know what he's doing. And I know it's just trouble, but it's like, hey, dude, give yourself time. Yeah. You'll know in a month, you'll have more of a context on how to approach these things. In 2 months, in 3 months, and then also exponentially, in 3 months, your kids will also have settled in. Yeah. You guys will have created more of a bond. So don't rush things. Give things time to develop, and be patient with yourself. Be patient with the situation, and realize that you learn and you grow.
Yeah, that's a concept. You've known me for a while now, where I've kind of got this entrepreneurial brain. I always have a million ideas of something I can do. One of the concepts that I learned really strategically, probably Gary Vee type individual shared this, was the rule of 100. If you're going to try something, you commit to it, and you commit to 100. Mm-hmm. So it's the idea of, we're doing this podcast. Yeah. The only time to fairly evaluate, once you've decided, like the cool thing about this podcast is when I pitched it to Kyle, he's like, dude, I don't know, my time. Yeah. But I'll think about it for sure. Because once I think about it and I decide I'm going to do it, what'd you say?
We're going for it.
Yeah, I'm all in.
Yeah.
So, which is cool. And for me,
been great. Yeah.
My mind says, okay, I've committed to 100 episodes. Right. Because at 100 episodes, we can reevaluate, is this still worth going? Right. And so the same thing.
Committing to 100 foster children.
No. I thought 100 hours.
Oh, got it. Okay.
Yeah, and I'm not talking like 100 hours.
That was after a week and a half. Yeah. That was a week and a half.
No, but I'm talking like 100 hours.
I got a lifetime of foster care. I got a lifetime of lives.
Well, I'm not talking about 100 pure.
I had three kids in the first 2 months. Dude.
Yeah,
Are you
but there are the 2 hours of the day in which you're in the muck of it.
Yeah.
And that's not 24 hours.
Give yourself some time.
That's 2 hours.
Get some reps in.
And then the next day is another couple hours where you're talking, and they're at school, you're at work, you're not in the mire of the actual foster care and the intentional development and care of therapy session,
the crisis moments,
the conversations on the couch while you're watching TV, maybe, or you don't do that at your house, but those things where you go,
the couch or the TV,
the TV. So for Josh, your buddy, like the hours.
Thanks, Josh, for being our guinea pig on this one, dude.
You're awesome. You hang in there, buddy. But those are 2 or 3 hours, and then at 100 hours, maybe that takes place over 2-3 months, like you're saying. Right. Oh, go, wait, I learned a lot more than I did at the beginning. Yeah. And the next 100 hours will be, it's cool.
And I think you learn to embrace the uncertainty, the vulnerability, the unknown on the other side.
Into the unknown.
You and I are talking to the same thing. Is like we both wanted to have control. We both wanted to have understanding, and you learn. It's
overrated.
It's less of a knowledge piece, and again, what I'm speaking to is less of a knowledge piece as much as it is like a muscle. That ability to embrace the unknown, that ability to just walk into confusion and not panic, but I felt like I needed to know everything. I needed to have perfect control, and it drove me crazy. It drove me it drove me to a point where like, you know, I'm in like therapy trying to back off from the edge, you know.
It turns out dudes don't like not being good at things.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody likes that feeling. I know. I mean, I can't speak just to dudes, but I mean, Jessica, I know she likes to do things that she's good at, and this is really hard, you know. And the easiest way is to you feel like you need to just tighten down, but in reality, like you actually kind of gotta relax and open up, you know. So
my next one,
what else
ties
you got?
in, with spouses.
I gotta think of a second one, dude.
Well, I did my homework, dude. Mine is, and it's a continual revelation for me. I feel so dumb when I come back to the same thing, but you and your spouse, your partner, whatever, you are one team fighting one problem. And my tendency sometimes is to go, it's me versus my wife versus my kids versus the situation. And,
open up on that for me.
Well, I just isolate, and I will selfishly default to what's best for Chris, what's best for me. I need the nap. Yeah. You know, I need to get out of the house, or I need to, you know, have this fun moment with the kids or whatever. And I quickly, like, I'm like in the corner, backed in, like pointing at everyone else, ready to fight, including my wife, not physically, please. Please know that with clarity.
No, we all know who would win.
Yeah,
we all know who would win in that,
Tracy
dude.
would absolutely
destroy
me.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But
I wouldn't try that. Just warning you, dude. I wouldn't try that.
But it's that thought of my wife's not my enemy, and my wife is in the muck, in the crap with me.
Yeah.
And actually, the leaning on each other thing is a good. Actually, it turns out you can actually handle more together than you can apart. And I'm so, dude, I don't even understand how dumb I can feel after, like, I've been with this woman for 10 years. She's way smarter than me.
And then I start just the most stupid argument.
Yeah, or I go, well, you think you're all, like, I have a bad moment. It's always the moment where I feel embarrassed as a dad. I said something stupid. I yelled at a kid. I didn't need to. And I just look over at my wife, and she's probably just either one going like, it's kind of funny, but also, or like,
you could have done what I did tonight. I came home and like the day had been a little bit stressful, just like trying to hit the logistics. We started drum lessons. So I'm like, I'm sprinting home from work, got to pick up one kid from daycare, got to pick up the other kids from school, got to get home, get a snack, get to drum lessons, blah, blah, blah. And then we get it done from drum lessons, and I sprint home, and I'm like, all right, guys, okay, everybody got to clean up the table. We got to do this. And I just start going to, like, marching orders. And then we sit down, and Jessica makes a comment to a kid. I was like, hey, can't you say that a little kinder? And she's all, excuse me? Mr. Barking everybody's orders? And I was all, that was such a dumb thing to say, dude. Like, I just call her out on something that's really, like, not malicious.
Well, and that's what I do, or I will do that. And that, it's good to know you do it too, because I feel like an idiot most of the time. But at the same time, it's one of those things where you go, oh, yeah, we're on the same team. And even her comment is with the intention of the kids, and like a little bit of like, hey, maybe you can take a breath, and you're shut up,
be humble, Kyle. Listen, Kyle, be humble.
Sit down, be humble, but that's the I think I learned that again this week somehow, where I just go, wow, my wife is on my team, and this season of parenting is tough. The unknown of our little guy's situation is clearing up. We are starting to understand what's happening, but that's hard to get to those moments. And my wife is in the weeds with the biological mom a little bit more than I am, so she's feeling emotions. And the worst thing I can do is let her feel those alone, because I'm thinking we're not a team, and I don't think any relatively healthy marriage would be like, you are alone. Leave me alone with your problems. I don't want to hear it. But we do it subconsciously. You do it out of preservation. You do it out of idiocy, really. So what I wish I learned on the other side, or at least going into something, is your spouse, your partner is your team. And so lean in.
Yeah, it's weird how when we like the I'm also reading a book. Shout out Brene Brown.
How many books can you read
Dare
at
to
once?
Lead.
Dog?
I'm reading 5 books right now,
Nice.
but I'm creeping through. I'm reading a book about Jim Henson.
I mean, I should teach you ChatGPT book summaries, dude.
Oh yeah, dude, it's Cliff Notes. Anyways, but she just talks about how when that shame monster kicks up in us, and I think for some of us, like you said, we like to be in control. We like to be in the know. We like to be competent. And when we experience incompetence, that's when that shame of, you child, you're never going to accomplish anything. You're always going to be stuck in this place. That shame kicks up of insufficiency.
Yeah,
and so then the weirdest thing, and she just talks about, is like the retaliation that we have from shame is to then attack. Like when we feel attacked,
I do that all the time.
So then we attack, and so I think it's just that conscientiousness of saying, dude, like what you're feeling right now, is not somebody attacking you. It's your own psyche attacking you, dude. So
you just psychoanalyze me, dude. I'm about to have a moment.
Dude, sorry, man. It's wild. I just blacked out what just happened.
I mean, I do that. So
yeah, I mean that's exactly it. So pause, and just that's so great. It's such a great reminder to be like, yo, dude. Yeah, we're all fighting for the same goal. Yeah. We're all fighting for the same goal, you know. Except for that little devil in the back of your head, it's like wants you to feel like you should quit, that you should create enemies. Yeah, dude. And it's not true.
Okay, I did too. Your last one.
Yeah, dude. I think the biggest thing is being patient with my children, and in the moment. Again, it goes to that like attempt for control, that response to shame and insufficiency, and I just want to control the situation and just force an outcome, and
or expect your kids to take seismic leaps in their learning or growth,
linear progression, and I think what really reminded me of this, kids want security. They want to know that they are safe. And once they are safe, the rest of their brain, the rest of their body, really, it can unlock from there. Yeah. And I think we did a good job on that, but I also look at a lot of moments where I got very stressed. And again, I tried to force an outcome. I tried to, I got gruff and blunt and not empathetic, not compassionate.
Do you ever get that look in your child's face when you just crushed?
Oh yeah, dude. When I went too far, too fast, too hard. Yeah.
I have a fairly sensitive older child, and I love him, like obviously, but he is sensitive. Yeah. So I can say a word and just destroy the kid. Yeah. And I go, oh man, I didn't mean that.
So here's the wildest thing. So I had a buddy got married a couple weeks back, and they 4 went to honeymoon. So my wife and I, Jessica, we took them. We're like, hey, a couple days after the wedding, we were still in town, and I said, hey, you guys want to grab lunch? We were in Colorado, and what this lady does is she rehabilitates race horses to be like therapy horses, to be alternative use horses. Some of them, they do enter into a different type of competitions, those types of things. But what she found is these horses were pushed so hard from such a young age, because these horses, their window is young. And she said that the tendency is you then try to re-break the horse and you force them into to assimilate into a new identity as a different type of horse. And she said that it works until eventually the horse breaks and revolts. Oh, yeah. She said, but her tactic is just taking time, letting the horse be natural, letting the horse be free, letting the horse know the comfort of an owner and a rider and all that stuff. And then finally that horse becomes a free spirit again, and then you channel them. Huh. And it just reminded me that that's really the direction that they give a lot for foster parents is, hey, this kid was rode way too hard, pushed way too hard in all these awkward ways that it developed certain habits and certain maturities that it never should have. And now your kid just needs to decompress, unravel, and it's really hard to embrace that, again, that space between where you're like, but I gotta see some progress. Like this is unapproachable behavior. How could you dare act like that? Yeah. And again, this is speaking from a guy who got into those situations and was like, oh no, we're doing this, instead of just embracing, like letting them embrace their mess, letting me embrace my mess, and I, and so I just remember, like, the goal is, like, you don't have to force progression, you don't have to force development. What you have to do is establish relationship and let them know that they are safe and they are loved. And then you start to see this shift. Like, this, it just happens. And I can speak to that. It happens, I mean, when we hit the one, like, right about the 1 year mark, our oldest son, his reading capacity just boom, doubled. Like, this is a kid who struggled. He is in a he's in a special, like a specialized class for readers. And all of a sudden, right about that 1 year mark, boom, the dude's reading level doubles. And I'm like, what happened? And my best guess is he came to, you hit these layers of settling in. Sometimes that layer of settling in brings a positive response. Sometimes that layer of settling in lets them know, hey, I can be myself. I can let my hair down. Zero. Yeah, it takes, right. And they go back to being, they're like, whoa, did we just take a developmental back step? And you might have, because they can now finally be comfortable to be themselves. They can be comfortable to throw a fit and know that they are still loved, that they are still safe. They, and they're going to try new things when they start feeling those new feelings. And so all that to be said is, like, the primary goal is to let your kid know they are safe and they're loved. And that is something that, like, well, I learned the school of hard knocks. It was a school of hard knocks, dude. Took in night classes, dude.
Well, I can speak to that a little bit, where taking it just maybe a kind of a different direction from you, but when you get them feeling safe, I get frustrated too when you go, well, shouldn't we be past this moment here?
Shouldn't we be moving forward?
Yeah. And this is something that actually my boss taught me about leading my team. I manage a team, and so and it's to start taking the results personal on you. And so I think so many times we're so prone to, like, look at our kid and go, why can't you do this?
Right.
Well, leadership would say, why don't you turn it on yourself and say, have I taught them the right
have I given them the tools?
Have I given them everything that they need? And one of the things they need the most is that felt safety. Right. But also, have I, like the other day, this is a sillier analogy, but I coached 7-year-old baseball. Yeah. My son's age with his buddies. It's fun. Right. It's fun most of the time. It really is. But there was a day where the ball rolled to second base and the guy ran right past him, and he tries to throw it to first, throws it too far, and it's kids baseball, you get it. And I'm thinking, tag the freaking runner. Right. He ran right. He's like, you're sitting there with the ball in your glove.
This is basics.
Yeah, like, tag the dude. Yeah. And he throws it to first, doesn't tag the guy, and I'm like, what? It just happened. And then I'm like, wait a minute. I never told these kids they could tag the runner.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm here sitting mad about something that's seemingly elementary. Yeah. And you go, wait, no, that's on me. Yeah. And as parents, we could do the same, where you go, why don't you know to? Right. And sometimes they do know, like, put the clothes in the laundry.
Nobody ever taught them. Yeah. No, but some of it is
But in some of these cases, like, the emotional reaction isn't go 0 to 100 on any small thing.
They've never been in a scenario like this before. They don't know what to do with these feelings, with this situation. With
and for you to go, this is, even, like, as plain as day, go, this is the appropriate response. Right. This is how you should navigate that situation. That's a win. Yeah. Okay, dude.
Sweet.
Good episode.
Yeah, dude, it's all that to be said. Yeah. Sometimes you have to keep moving forward, because these lessons, it's not something you can learn any other way. Yeah. But the good news is you will learn it, and people will be the better for it, and there's grace and there's redemption for all those other areas.
And you're going to fail.
That are missed, dude. Yeah.
And you're going to trip and fall and look like an idiot.
That's how you learn.
Yeah. So
that's how you learn.
Take
encouragement. Doing a great thing, dude.
Take encouragement from the fact that it's going to suck. Yeah. It's going to be worth it.
Sweet, dudes.
Okay.
Peace.